Hi, everybody, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Karen.
And I'm Wesley.
Today is June 4th, and today we have a vocabulary test for you. We've got 10 items. Here is number 1. The foreign exchange students were unfairly blanked by the boys on the soccer team after showing up at tryouts. Our choices are A, kidnapped, B, victimized, C, diagnosed, D, summoned. What does this mean?OK,
好，我们先看看这个句子哈。他说呢 ，the foreign 就是外国的这个 exchange students 就是交换学生那我第一次看到这句子的时候，我把它看成 the foreign exchange 就是这个外汇，然后后面再加个学生，外汇学生。后来呢，其实这只有短大概不到1秒的时间就马上就知道不对了这应该是外国的 exchange students。This
is an issue of parsing, and native speakers have to do this all the time when we're reading. My father used to record books for the blind, and I heard him making NGs like this quite often. He'd be reading it, and he thought it was one interpretation, and then he'd continue and find it was a different one. We call these garden path sentences.Garden path. That means in your garden you have a path and you can walk along the path, but you can also take the wrong path and go somewhere you didn't intend to go. So sentences that lead you to believe it's one meaning and then you read it with that intonation, but actually they're a different meaning, so you have to change the intonation. Those are called garden path sentences.
好，所以这个就是花园小径的句子就是你看到这种句子呢，很可能会一开始的时候你断句的时候会断错那意思就不一样了。
Yeah, and the stress might be different too.
Yeah, 然后重音也会不一样那这个地方讲说，这些外国来的交换学生呢，他们被 unfairly 就是不公正的、不公平的。然后呢，空格之后说 by the boys 是谁对他们这样子呢？是这些那个男生boys， 那这些 boys 是哪里的 boys 呢？后面告诉我们是 on the soccer team， 在足球队的这些男生对他怎么样了？然后呢 ，after showing up at tryouts tryouts 就是这个选拔赛，所以这个在选拔赛出现之后呢，就被这个足球队上的这些男生怎么样了？那我要找到这个正确的答案。
Right, and when I see this, I kind of get tense in my whole body because this is such an issue now.You know, that discriminating against people who are different, discriminating against foreigners, against immigrants, all this. This is really, really a huge issue in politics these days. So when I see this, it makes me really tense. But we humans have this thing that we trust people who are like us. The more like us other people are, the more we trust them. Although we might get jealous and get into competition with them, still, we trust people more when they are more like us. Anybody who's a little different from us,we sometimes treat them differently. And when you start treating them differently, then you may have problems with discrimination. And if that goes too far, we may end up with bullying.
所以呢，我们看到这可能是告诉，尤其从 unfairly 这个字，我们得到这个大概又是一个歧视discrimination 的一个例子。好，那这个歧视到了这个过度的时候，过头的时候，就会变成霸凌bullying。All
right, let's look at our choices. A is kidnapped. Now that sounds kind of weird in this context.
这个是绑架的意思 ，kid 就是小孩子那个 nap 的字根的意思是 seize 是攫取、抓的意思，所以把小孩抓走了，那引申成为这个绑架的意思。但在这里呢，这绑架就绑架，不会有什么不公平的绑架，而且应该不至于到绑架的程度。
Right, B is victimized.
这个是使受害或者迫害。那 victim 是它的名词就是让某人成为他一个受害者通常是 single somebody out.For cruel or unjust treatment, 那叫做 victimize.
Right, and that sounds probably like what we want. So victimized is probably our answer, but let's look at the other two just to be sure there isn't an even better answer. C is diagnosed or diagnosed. We have two different stresses for that, and that means?
诊断的意思。
Right, so you get diagnosed when you go visit a doctor and he tells you what's wrong with you, what disease you have, or whatever. So that sounds weird here. We're not in a hospital. And D is summoned.
召唤、召集的意思。
And that sounds really weird, unfairly summoned. It can be just 召集, but it can also mean being called into court.
好，这个 summon 可以是召集也可以是这个传唤到这个法庭上面的意思那放在这里也很怪，尤其是 summon 就 summon， 没有什么 unfairly summon 这种说法。
Although I guess it's possible. I mean, you were not guilty and they summoned you to court. So that's possible, but not in this context, not in a soccer game. And by the way, remember that most of the world calls it football. So football in Europe and other places means 足球. In America, we call it soccer. Now and we're the odd man out on that one, but just pay attention to that. And in America, football means 美式橄榄球, so watch out for that difference. Okay, so our answer is be victimized. Let's listen to the whole sentence now. The foreign exchange students were unfairly victimized by the boys on the soccer team after showing up at tryouts. Now, this one also is a little weird because when you say victimized, it already means unfairly.
Yeah.
So putting in unfairly, they're probably trying to give you a hint at what they want, but it is redundant.
好 redundant 就是这个是有点累赘的因为 victimize 就像我们刚刚讲的，它通常是 cruel 或者是 unjust 或者 unfair treatment， 所以它本身就有那种 unfairly 的意思所以在这里呢，它把 unfairly 放在这里可能因为它题目设计上面呢，就给你一些线索，告诉你说接下来你要找的字是负面意思的字那给你，当然你还要取他的线索才能知道真正答案是 victimize但在这里这 unfairly， 如果各位在写作的时候，这 unfairly 可以不加的，因为 victimize 本来就没有所谓的 fairly victimized someone， 没有这种说法。
That's right. Victimization is negative no matter what. The word redundant means 赘字 in this case. Well, it's a 形容词, so a redundant word 是一个赘字赘语。It's spelled R-E-D-U-N-D-A-N-T. R-E-D-U-N-D-A-N-T, redundant. It's a redundant word here. It's redundant. But let's listen to the whole sentence now again. The foreign exchange students were unfairly victimized by the boys on the soccer team after showing up at tryouts. This leaves a really bad taste in my mouth just thinking about that sentence. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Adam became blank and started screaming at the top of his lungs when he found a cockroach in his corn soup. A, chronic. B, ironic. C, hysterical. D, analytical.
好，那 Adam 变得怎么样了然后呢，开始尖叫 started screaming 而且尖叫是怎么叫呢？是 at the top of his lungs， 就是大叫as loudly as possible 就高声尖叫的意思那当他发现到他的这个 corn soup， 他的玉米汤里面有一只蟑螂的时候，他就高声尖叫。
It's funny that they chose a guy for this sentence, because you expect it more from a girl, but I hope we get over those stereotypes. It's something that doesn't happen all the time, but when it happens, you don't have to freak out. Just take care of it and just tell them and give it back. You don't have to scream. All right, so what makes sense here? This guy found a cockroach in his soup. And by the way, corn soup, the first time we mention it, we're going to stress both of the words. Corn soup. I'd like some corn soup. But if we're already talking about soup, and we've been talking about corn soup a lot, we'll probably start calling it corn soup. We'll make it into a compound, so you will hear both. I'd like some corn soup. That means we weren't even thinking of soup. But if we're already thinking about soup and we don't know which kind to choose, then we'll say, I'd like the corn soup. So you're going to hear both. Pay attention to which one you hear in which situation. It is not unimportant. Stress really matters in English, so you should really start paying more attention to it. So let's look at our possible answers here. Adam became what before he started screaming? A chronic?
慢性的，那我们常常讲 a chronic disease.
And the opposite of chronic is acute. 跟可爱没有关系. A-C-U-T-E. A-C-U-T-E, acute. An acute illness means it is really progressing very fast, and you'd better take care of it now. You'll probably need something like antibiotics or something to take care of it quickly. If it's chronic, it's long-term, so you can probably use milder medicine, or maybe you can use exercise to treat it. Chronic is just something that you have for a long time.
Yeah, acute 如果是讲疾病的话，就是指急性的疾病。
All right, B is ironic.
讽刺的。
Right, and that sounds weird here. We're not being ironic. That means we're not being sarcastic or anything like that, so it just doesn't fit. C is hysterical, and this one you have a very funny Chinese phonetic translation of.
歇斯底里。
That's right, and that must go back to the 白话运动那个 period.
Yeah.
They had a lot of long transliterations of English words. Most of them did not survive, like the word for science.
Yeah, 德先生 no, 赛先生
赛先生 and 赛恩斯 or something like that. They had a lot of funny phonetic translations that did not survive, but this one has survived. And I think it's because it's so long. 歇斯底里 It sounds a little hysterical.
Yeah, 有可能 Yeah 所以这个字的翻译蛮有趣的这个完全照声音翻过来，而且翻得蛮长的，让你念起来就有一点歇斯底里的感觉。
的感觉 That's right.
Yeah.
So we have sound symbolism here. Singing 本身就很像他所指的意思。Okay, so hysterical. Now, it sounds like he was kind of losing control, so it looks like that's our correct answer. Let's look at D, analytical. He was not being analytical. He didn't sit down and start 分析啊，这发生什么事。
Yeah, analytical 就是分析的意思。
Right. Our correct answer is C, hysterical. So the sentence now reads, Adam became hysterical and started screaming at the top of his lungs when he found a cockroach in his corn soup. Number 3, after the farmers adopted new methods to improve the blank of their soil, their harvests doubled in size. Our choices are A, brutality, B, credibility, C, mobility, D, fertility. A lot of ITY nouns here. What does our sentence mean?
好，我们的题目是说啊，在这些农夫们，他们 adopted 就是采取新的 methods 方法来干嘛呢 ？To improve 来改善 the 什么 of the soil 啊，就是这个土壤的什么东西，改善土壤的某个东西之后，他们用了一些方法改善土壤的这个东西之后呢，他们的收获 harvests 就 doubled 就加倍成长。In size 就是在这个收获的这个大小方面呢是加倍的成长。
So your head should now be producing some possibilities that have to do with how we can make soil better so that we get better harvests. A, brutality.
凶残
That doesn't help the soil. B, credibility.
可信度
That doesn't help either. C, mobility.
机动性或者是行动力
We don't want the soil to start walking around. D, fertility.
肥沃
And that's the correct answer. The sentence should read, After the farmers adopted new methods to improve the fertility of the soil, their harvests doubled in size. Number 4, my business trip to Las Vegas blank with Christmas, so I indulged in a big feast there. Our choices are A, interfered, B, evolved, C, negotiated, D, coincided. Grammatically, all of them work fine, so we're going to have to look at meaning.
好，我们看到这个题目的意思，他说我的这个出差 business trip 啊，到这个 Las Vegas 这个地方的这个出差呢怎么样 with Christmas 啊，跟圣诞节怎么样了？结果 So I indulged in a big feast there 哈，这个 indulge in 我们通常直接把它翻成沉迷于什么什么，但是这个字不一定是沉迷那么负面的意思。indulge 有的时候只是讲说你允许自己这个放纵一下，享受一下。
犒赏自己
And
in the past, we used to say 开洋荤
开洋荤
Not so many people say that anymore, but I saw it recently.
所以这个地方讲到他这个犒赏自己去开个洋荤，或者是去大吃了一顿 a big feast 大大的吃了一顿there.
All right, A, interfered. Actually, if you just look at the first part, interfered makes sense because it interfered with Christmas. You took a trip when you were supposed to be celebrating Christmas with your family at home, but it doesn't fit in with the rest of the sentence.
那 interfere 是干涉它有介入的意思，看起来这个字好像是可以，因为 interfere 后面也常常是用 with， 但是它 interfere 那个 inter 就是 between， 所以感觉起来它有介入有干涉到那个意思，那放在这句子里面这样解释就很奇怪了，
有冲突 So in that way it makes sense, but not with the second part of the sentence. B, evolved.
进化或者是發展
That's weird. C, negotiated.
協商或者談判
Usually it has to be a person who is the subject, not a trip. And D, coincided.
好，那 coincided 就是巧合碰在一起，这个 co 就是 together， 那个 incid 好，这个字根是 fall 的意思所以掉下来一起掉下来就表示它同时发生了。
Right, and that's the correct answer. The sentence now reads, My business trip to Las Vegas coincided with Christmas, so I indulged in a big feast there. That means they happened at the same time. Since it was Christmas, and since I'm single, I don't have a family to worry about, I just enjoyed myself. That's what it sounds like. That sounds good to Wesley.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it sounds good to a lot of people.
Okay. All right, so that's number 4. Number 5, the drunk driver lost control of his vehicle and consequently the car spun blank in circles. Our choices are A, clockwise, B, beforehand, C, overhead or overhead, D, underneath.
好，那我们题目一说呢，这一个酒醉的驾驶 drunk driver 他 lost control of 就是失去什么的控制，所以他失去对他车辆的控制vehicle 在这里指的是他开的那辆车。然后呢 consequently 结果 这个车子就 spun 就是旋转，它的原形动词是 spin 啊 S-P-I-N， 然后旋转怎么样 in circles 就是转这个圈圈的意思 in circles。
Now, what I originally thought of before I saw it in circles was spun out of control. Now, that is pretty common.
啊，那尤其是开车的时候呢，我们常常讲这个 spun out of control， 就是车子有点打滑，然后可能会转圈了啊，那就是 spun out of control， 然后失去控制啊。但在这里呢，它 out of control 已经讲出来，所以这个地方啊 spun in circles 其实文法上已经对了啊，就是说它就是在打圈圈了。
I have a picture in my head. Do you have one in your head?
Yes.
What is the situation?
啊，这个在雪地上面。
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. It's a steep slope.
Uh-huh.
It's a steep slope. The car is at the top. It's very icy, and it's probably going a little too fast. But even if you're not going fast and it's icy, you go down the hill too fast, it's flat at the bottom, and the car starts spinning in circles. That's very possible.
所以很可能这个是一个斜坡，尤其是雪，这个在雪中一个斜坡是冰啊，
雪 is not a problem, but 冰
路上结冰的。那你如果从斜坡下来的时候，速度太快，你到了平地的时候，因为惯性啊，这个地心重力关系，你车就会很容易就打转了。
That's right. But we have in circles, so spun out of control is not a possibility. A is clockwise.
顺时针。
That's right. And the opposite of clockwise is counterclockwise. In American English, in British English, it's anti-clockwise.
所以它的相反词呢，在美式英文是 counterclockwise， 然后在英式英文呢是 anti-clockwise.
And that's our answer. So 顺着时钟的方向一直打转. All right, so that's our answer. B, beforehand.
事先、预先 in advance 的意思。
C, overhead.
在头顶上面。
Right, and I said there are two possible ways to stress it. Overhead means your the money that you have to spend to run your business. It's basically your 成本。
所以 overhead 如果是当名词的话是指成本的意思，但是它在这里指介系词的话就是 overhead 就是在头上。
Right. D, underneath.
在什么什么底下。
All right, the answer is A, clockwise. The drunk driver lost control of his vehicle and consequently the car spun clockwise in circles. Number 6, with a high percentage of the population vaccinated, it is more difficult for this kind of blank disease to spread. A, diplomatic. B, compatible. C, infectious. D, eligible. And what does this mean?
好，那 high percentage of 就是高比例，所以呢，这个人口里面有很高比例的人已经他们被 vaccinated， 就是经过这个注射疫苗了，已经被疫苗注射了，已经注射过疫苗了哈。因为这样子呢，所以现在对于这种什么样的疾病要能够 spread， 如果它要这个散播的话呢，是比较难了。所以这个这个打疫苗大概就是跟传染病有关啊。那尤其他又说现在这个病不容易扩散了，所以大概要找这一类的意思。
But I'm sure you've seen in the news that because of a lot of parents being against vaccination, a lot of kids have started getting the measles and other diseases we thought were completely eradicated, but now they're coming back.
好，那因为现在有一些家长他们不反对注射疫苗，或者他们觉得不要注射疫苗了，结果有一些我们以为已经绝迹的一些疾病，好像这个麻疹啊什么，现在已经好像要回来了，已经开始又复发了。
And some children are now going against their parents and getting vaccinated themselves.
那这个有一些小孩，尤其在美国，他们现在不管父母亲这个反对，他们自己都要去接种，因为到生病苦的是自己。
We've forgotten how terrible those diseases were, and then when that happens, we have new problems. All right, A is diplomatic.
外交的。
No. B, compatible.
相容的。
No. C, infectious.
传染性的或者感染性的。
And that's the correct answer. D, eligible.
有资格的。
All right. So the answer is C, infectious. The sentence reads, with a high percentage of the population vaccinated, it is more difficult for this kind of infectious disease to spread. Number 7, with the help of blank, visitors can take in all the stunning scenery at the Grand Canyon National Park. Our choices are A, binoculars, B, statistics, C, revenues, D, magnets.
好，借由什么的帮忙啊？那这个 with the help of 什么东西？这个 visitors 这些游客可以 take in 欣赏啊，这些 stunning scenery 就是这个令人感到很震撼的美景，叫做 the stunning scenery， 在这个大峡谷国家公园。
All right, and what are we going to use to see that scenery? A, binoculars.
双筒的望远镜。
Okay, and that's the correct answer. With the help of binoculars, visitors can take in all the stunning scenery at the Grand Canyon National Park.
好，那这个所以用望远镜看可以看得更清楚。那我们其他选项 statistics 是统计数字，它通常都是复数。那 revenues 是收入或者收益。那 magnets 是磁铁的意思，都不对，在这里都不是答案。
So it's A, binoculars. Number 8, the celebrity sued the reporter of that newspaper because she completely blanked what he had said during the interview and ruined his reputation. That happens a lot these days. I'm pretty sure you see it a lot in the news. A, exploited. B, tortured. C, distorted. D, oppressed.
好，那这个 celebrity 这位名人控告 sued 那家报纸的这个记者，因为这位记者 completely 完全的怎么样 what he had said 就是这个名人说的话被这个记者完全的怎么样了那他这个话什么时候说的呢？是在访谈之中说的 during the interview。然后呢，因为这样子，所以 ruined his reputation。这个名人的名声都被毁掉了所以这个地方我们要看要选什么呢？
A, exploited.
这是剥削的意思。
Yeah, or 趁机去利用这个东西. It's possible, but I think we can find a better answer. B, tortured.
折磨。
You don't torture what somebody says. C, distorted.
扭曲，尤其是某人说的话或他做的事。
And that's the correct answer. D, oppressed.
压迫。
The whole sentence now reads, the celebrity sued the reporter of that newspaper because she completely distorted what he had said during the interview and ruined his reputation. Number 9, the presidential candidate adopted an aggressive blank campaign against his rivals, utilizing a variety of mass media. Our choices are A, humanitarian, B, navigation, C, recruitment, D, propaganda.
那这位总统候选人呢，他采取 adopt， 我们刚刚在第3题也看到这一个字采取，他采取了一个 aggressive， 一个很有侵略性的这样的一个什么样的 campaign 就是竞选活动 against his rivals 对他的对手 rivals 就是他的对手。那他后面一个分词构句告诉你他怎么样这个采取这样的行为呢？他利用了 a variety of 很多的这个 mass media 各种各样的媒体来做他要做的这件事情。
Right. And A is humanitarian.
人道主义者。
B, navigation.
导航或者航行。
No, we're not talking about travel here. C, recruitment.
招募人员。
And we're not trying to do that either. D, propaganda.
宣传活动。
And remember that propaganda in English is pretty much always negative.
好 propaganda 这个字在英文里面通常都是负面的。
Because it is not neutral. It is only supporting one side. So the sentence now reads, the presidential candidate adopted an aggressive propaganda campaign against his rivals, utilizing a variety of mass media. And number 10, I can hardly recognize Peter. There is a blank difference in his appearance now that he has lost nearly 20 kilograms. My gosh. A, barren. B, noticeable. C, solemn. D, considerate.
好，那题目是说，我现在几乎认不出 Peter 因为有一个怎么样的一种差别。在哪里的差别呢？在他的外表的差别。那 now that 就是表示现在的状况是这样子，跟以前不一样了。现在他这个减肥，或者他已经这个减重将近20公斤。
That's a lot of weight to lose. All right, A, barren.
这是指贫瘠的，土地很贫瘠。那如果指人的话，就是不孕。
That's right, 不毛之地 if it's land. B, noticeable.
显著的。
And that's the answer here. C, solemn.
严肃的。
That's weird. And D, considerate.
体贴的。
Now, this is a distractor because we could say considerable difference, 就相当的, but this is considerate, which means 体贴. The answer is B, noticeable. The sentence now reads, I can hardly recognize Peter. I wonder if this is a truthful statement.
说不定真的哦。那这里要提醒各位，这第4个选项 considerate 这个字是体贴的意思。那这个字刚刚讲是 distractor， 它可能是要让你分心的，因为有的人看到这个字会误以为它是 considerable。因为如果是 considerable 的话，就是相当的，那就可以是正确答案了。但是它不是 considerable， 它是 considerate， 所以考试的时候要小心看仔细那个字是什么字。
Because I almost made that mistake myself. Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, we both did.
Yeah.
That's it for today.